Welcome to Liberal BFer, where we put the left on check. Today's reality check. Imagine being a conservative under the FBI leadership of Christopher Wray and expected to believe there's not a two-tiered justice system in America, one that protects the left at any and all cost and another that will hunt down and arrest anyone who goes against the left. Imagine being expected to believe this as we watch with our own eyes this very thing happening day in and day out in our country. School board moms, don't you dare stand up and talk at a school board meeting or you will be labeled a domestic terrorist by the FBI. Catholic pro-life activists, don't you dare preach outside of an abortion clinic or the FBI will come to your house with dozens of armed federal agents to arrest you for protecting your child who was almost assaulted by a pro-choice activist. If you are the political opponent of Joe Biden, don't you dare run for re-election against him, or your home will be raided for the very crimes Joe Biden has allegedly committed. Yes, my fellow conservatives, who are you going to believe, me, the FBI, or your lying eyes? How dare you believe what your eyes see and not what I tell you? Today is the day. The right gets to put the man in charge of the FBI, Chris Wray, in front of the House Judiciary Committee oversight hearing to answer to what our so-called lying eyes have been seeing since Biden took office. Matt Gaetz put Christopher Wray on the hot seat during the oversight hearing with the House Judiciary Committee, and let's just say, as a conservative, it was about time.
The American people need to understand what just happened. My Democrat colleague just asked the director of the FBI whether or not they are buying information about our fellow Americans, and the answer is, well, we'll just have to get back to you on that. It sounds really complicated, but I have other questions. I'm sitting here with my father. I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI does not and has no interest in
you won't answer the question about whether or not that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it. Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing about you. But let's go from the uncurious to the downright nosy. How many illegal FISA queries have occurred under your leadership of the FBI? The court said it was over 200,000 that have occurred on your watch. Do you have any basis to disagree with that assessment?
Again, I don't have the number as I sit here right now. What I can
Seems like a number you should know. How many times the FBI is breaking the law under your watch, especially if it's like over 1 million, to not know that number? And I'm worried about your veracity on the subject as well. Play the video.
Letters for investigation of the Capitol. I don't believe FISA is remotely implicated in our investigation.
So there, Senator Lee's asking you whether or not FISA was in any way involved in your January 6th investigation, and you say no. Was that truthful?
I said that I did not believe it was.
Okay, so now let's pull up what the court said, which was something a little different than what you said. Yeah, here we go, right there. It says, the government has reported additional significant violations of the querying standard, including several relating to the January 6, 2021 breach of the Capitol. So I guess the question, Director Wray, is did you not know when you were answering these questions that the FBI was engaging in these illegal searches, or did you perjure yourself to Senator Lee?
I certainly didn't perjure myself. At the time that I testified in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee, I didn't have that piece of information. I will add...
Well, that was a court order. You didn't have that piece of information because the court hadn't yet rendered a judgment. Did you not know when you gave the untruthful answer before Senator Lee that this was going on?
It was a truthful answer. I did not believe FISA had been involved in the January 6th
But it was. So you didn't... The answer is the FBI has broken so bad that people can go and engage in queries that when you come before the Congress to answer questions, you're like blissfully ignorant. You're blissfully ignorant as to the unlawful queries. You're blissfully ignorant as to the Biden shakedown regime. But don't you see that that's kind of the thing, Director Wray, that you preside over the FBI that has the lowest level of trust in the FBI's history? People trusted the FBI more when J. Edgar Hoover was running the place than when you are. And the reason is because you don't give straight answers. You give answers that later a court deems aren't true. And then at the end of the day, you won't criticize an obvious shakedown when it's directly in front of us. And it appears as though you're whitewashing the conduct of corrupt.
Now, if you ask me, this is a start, but far from enough. The FBI must be held accountable now for their corruption. As a conservative, I myself am tired of the all talk, no action from my party. It's time to take action and put an end to this corruption. It appears I am not the only one that feels this way, as people were lined up outside of Speaker Kevin McCarthy's office waiting to see if he and Jim Jordan were going to order the sergeant-at-arms to arrest Chris Wray.
Hey, look, folks, this is the massive line of people waiting and clamoring to see if Kevin McCarthy is going to order the sergeant-at-arms along with Jim Jordan, whether or not he's going to call on the U.S. Capitol Police to arrest and then detain Christopher Wray.
As we all know by now, Kevin McCarthy is all talk and very little action. So, of course, there will be no real accountability for the corrupt FBI. What are your thoughts on the Chris Wray FBI oversight hearing with the House Judiciary Committee and Kevin McCarthy's lack of action? Let me know in the comments. That's it for today. To help support the channel, please comment, like, share, subscribe, and be sure to check this one out next.